Hello, everyone. Welcome to this series on Vedic psychology and human resource development. In this series, I'm going to speak about emotional intelligence. The concept of emotional intelligence from Vedic psychology. And in order to explain the emotional intelligence from the Vedic psychology, I'll be using examples from one of the Vedic texts, that is the Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is one of the most popular texts of the Vedanta. Well, if you want to look at the Bhagavad Gita, it is a small part of the Mahabharata. Remember, Mahabharata is one of the greatest epic in the world. Number of verses or slokas in the Mahabharata is more than 100,000, depending on the editions that we look at. Okay, in the critical editions of the Mahabharata is slightly less than 100,000 slokas or verses. So the Bhagavad Gita is only 700 verses from the Mahabharata, meaning the Bhagavad Gita is only 0.7% of the less than 1% of the entire Mahabharata. Okay, so what is the Bhagavad Gita, and why Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the most popular text of the Vedanta is not going to be discussed in this series, in this session. But what we are interested to look at is the emotional intelligence from the perspective of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure many of you will know what emotional intelligence is. The work on emotional intelligence predates even Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman, who have written about emotional intelligence and working with emotional intelligence, which has became very popular since the year 1990. Sometime I can't exactly tell you the date of the publication, but as far as I can remember, it was in the 1990s. In the mid 1990s. So emotional intelligence, we can say it is the ability of the leader, ability of an individual, ability of you, ability of everyone to understand, to manage, to regulate our emotion, our own emotion, and also others' emotion. And in the emotional intelligence of the model by Daniel Goleman, there are four quadrants that relates to self-awareness, self-management, awareness of other people, that is we call as social awareness, and also relationship management. Okay, Bhagavad Gita talks or provides a lot of information on the emotional intelligence. In this series, I think I will start with the self-awareness component, self-awareness. Then we can go into self-management. There are also other components, awareness of others, and also relationship management. But let's start with the concept of self-awareness. So as I said to you, the Bhagavad Gita is the most quoted scripture from the Sanatana Dharma, or text from the Sanatana Dharma. Well, a brief introduction, if I want to give, it is a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna is considered to be the Bhagavan himself in a mortal form. And mostly the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita transcends religion. Okay, many people look at it as a religious text, but it is more than just a religious text. It has a lot of information, knowledge. Okay, not only knowledge, and also practical suggestions on how we can develop ourselves. How, instead of using the word develop, I would rather say how one can transform or even transcend oneself. Okay, And it's widely used even if you are not looking at it from the religious perspective or philosophical or spiritual perspective. It can be used for your personal development, for leadership, and also for mental well-being. So I say that the Bhagavad Gita provides timeless wisdom on development or developing our emotional intelligence. Because the first part of the emotional intelligence model is that the self-awareness. It helps to cultivate, okay, by cultivate our self-awareness that will lead to emotional balance, empathy, and also right decision making or effective decision making. In the earlier series in the Vedic psychology and human resource development, I have mentioned that the concept of Atman, it is what is written, is written Atman, but it is Atma. Okay, Atma Vidya, knowledge of the self, Adhyatma Vidya or Atma Vidya is very, very crucial. Every living being, especially human being, because in the life of a human, we have this awareness. We are more aware compared to other living beings. We are more aware about ourselves, who we are, where do we come from, where are we going. Okay, that type of awareness is much stronger in a human being, especially those who have a higher level of consciousness. So in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of self-awareness is rooted in the understanding of the Atma, that is a true self, the real self. And remember, I have mentioned in the previous series, the real self is something that goes beyond mind, beyond ego, and also physical body. Okay. I have said in one of the series that the physical body that we have consists of 5 elements, that is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Beyond the physical body, we have our subtle body, the mind, the intellect, and also the false ego. Then we have the soul. The soul or the Atma is being covered by the 8 elements, 5 material elements and 3 subtle elements. And Krishna teaches Arjuna the true wisdom in understanding between what is the eternal self and also emotion. What is the difference between the self and the body? Okay, the real nature, the awareness of the self from the Bhagavad Gita, especially in chapter 2 from the Bhagavad Gita, plus many other Vedic literatures, the Upanishad says that you are not the body, we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. There is an Atma within each and every living being. And the Atma, it is eternal. Atma is eternal. Okay, there is no birth, death for the Atma. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. He says that there is no birth and death for the Atma. Okay, there is no birth, no death. It is immortal. Many characteristics of the Atma has been given in the Bhagavad Gita. He says Atma is not perishable when the body is perishable, but body perishes. Okay, that which pervades the body is imperishable, is not perishable. Okay, avinashi to tatvidi yena sharvam idam tatam. In fact, the conclusion part of the knowledge of self, Krishna says to Arjuna, dehi nityo avatyo yam, dehi sharvasya bharada tashmat sharvani bhutani natvam soshitam arahishti. He who dwells in the body is not slain when the body is slain. Therefore, you should not grieve for any living being. Okay, looking at the emotional intelligence, the first quadrant in the emotional intelligence is all about self-awareness. Remember, the self-awareness is a foundation of the emotional intelligence. It involves more about understanding your real nature, who we are. Okay, our real nature. That leads us to realization of the self. Awareness of the self leads to realization of the self. Understanding our emotion, our thoughts, and reaction without being affected by them. Okay, like practicing mindfulness and introspection has been taught in the Bhagavad Gita, helps every one of us to be more conscious about our inner emotional landscape. It can help us to become better in control of situation, that whatever situation that we are in, we are able to control, we are able to manage ourselves, because we are able to manage our mind. The mind should always be stable, whether we are undergoing joy Okay, sukha, dukkha. No, there is a saying in the Bhagavad Gita, sukha, sukhe dukkhe, sukhe dukkha, sama kritva, labha labho jaya jayo. Whether it is sukha or joy, whether it is dukkha or sadness, okay, whether it is gain, labha, labho, whether gain, loss, whether it is victory, defeat, we must always be in equanimity, equal. You must always be in equilibrium. Okay, there is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna will be mentioning that we elevate ourselves with our own mind. We do not degrade oneself. We elevate ourselves. Mind is a friend. Mind is a friend to one who's able to manage the mind, and the mind can also be the enemy if we are unable to manage the mind. And in fact, looking into the concept of mind, that will come into another component of emotional intelligence, that is self-management, self-regulation. But what I have provided you is just a gist, summary. Not even a summary. If I want to speak to you, talk to you more about the concept of self-awareness from the Bhagavad Gita, it's just Bhagavad Gita. I have not gone into the Upanishads yet. The Upanishads has even more information about the awareness, about the real self. Okay, different kosas that we are in. Okay, the kosas, the five kosas or five what you call layers, and different levels of existence, awareness. Upanishads like Mandukya Upanishads talks about different stages of existence, waking state, dreaming state, sleeping, deep sleep state, and all the states of being that we are. Okay, so it's important for us to explore. In Vedic psychology, Bhagavad Gita is a must, especially the chapter number 2, the Sankhya Yoga, the verses where Krishna explains about the real self. When in the chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita is all about the reasons, arguments that Arjuna was providing to Krishna why he should not be involved in the Kurukshetra war. Even from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he still provides the examples, not examples, sorry. He still provide the arguments for, and then he surrendered to Krishna, and then Krishna start to impart the Bhagavad Gita, which presents the essence of Vedic psychology. And the Vedic psychology has a very relevant teaching to the field of human resource development. So we're going to look at it more related to the Vedic psychology, maybe other areas related to emotional intelligence, from the teachings of Vedanta or Vedic psychology. So we'll meet again in next series or next session. Thank you, everyone.